Good morning. I'm about to head over to the garage to get some tools so I can go to the apartment and install a washer and dryer for a tenant. And then after that, hopefully me and John are going to meet up and do some garage stuff. I think a lot of this is going to be setting up for spring and summer months to see what we want to get done, what projects we're going to prioritize. Outside of that, we're just probably going to do some shenanigans and whatnot. So yeah, let's get driving.
We're going to Tim Hortons, I guess, which is different than what we would normally do. I'm lying. We're totally always going to Tim Hortons all the time. All right, we're getting close to the Outlulz garage. Let's see what it's like today with a little bit of snow that we got. I don't know how much they got out here. I had 14 inches of snow in my driveway about a week ago today, so not much of it has melted since then. Probably have to pop it into 4 to get to the back of the garage, but we'll see. All right, so we just got to the Outlulz garage and got a little bit of bad news. The cheap Liberty here is it's got a locked up caliper, and
Seems like it is.
I don't know. It might be. It might not be. What really matters is, do I care? And the answer is no. Maybe you can see the heat. You can see how warm it is. Can you see how it smells? Boy, it's crazy.
Does that smell like it?
All right, maybe we'll fix it. No. All right, I know what the problem is. I figured it out. So we're gonna take a look. We're gonna check my suspicions, and we'll see about what the problem is. Yeah, if I can find the hood latch. There it is. All right. I'm gonna try and fix this thing. I got to keep it running for a little while longer until I can afford something a little bit better. So come with me as we find the hood prop. There we go. Thank you, lovely assistant. This is custom hood props. Not all the Jeeps came with these, and here I usually just get it right up in there. Yeah, that's good. And okay, so the brakes are hot, and I'm betting it is because see, the coolant is low. That's why.
You need more?
No, maybe. Let's see. Here we go. Okay. This is how you fix. That's how you fix a vehicle. Well, I should a little backstory with this.
You're gonna have to bleed those brakes, man.
It has been called the cheap Liberty because I have been quoted as saying the only thing I'm going to do with this thing until I sell it is put fluids in it. So
Wait.
let's see if this fixes the brakes. We'll find out. Because coolant runs into the brakes, right? Yeah. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. All right. Well, we'll reconvene later, and we'll find out if that fixed we'll fix the brake caliper.
It's Saturday, and we're at the Outlulz garage, and I wanted to give you guys an introduction to my buddy John. Today we're going to just review a couple things, just car projects, what we're looking forward to in the spring, and what we want to get done. So John, why don't you tell us a little bit about your projects?
Basically, I have 3 vehicles myself, and the one that you're probably going to see most immediately is going to be what's been dubbed Cheap Liberty. It is a 2004 Jeep Liberty, and I got the truck for a song. I barely paid anything for it. It's $1,000.
I was going to ask if you lost a bet.
No. I feel like I did.
How long are you keeping that one for?
As long as I can without putting money into it. The whole premise behind Cheap Liberty is the only thing I'm doing is putting fluids in it. So the moment it needs any kind of parts, it's out of here. So there's that. That's my DD.
Okay, what's your project vehicles?
The elephant in the room is the military Humvee. I own a 1992 actual military Humvee.
I've still yet to see it.
You do?
I don't believe you have one until I see it. So
Well, I can't see it either. It's camo.
No one can see it.
It could be anywhere. I forgot where I parked it. And then there's the mystery
vehicle?
Mystery car.
You guys will hopefully see that later down the road when we're doing more of our projects. But the Humvee, do you have any plans to modify that at all? I mean, it's big as it sits. I think it's like 35-inch tires or something like that.
37 and a half.
It has the portal axles. So, I mean, there's really not much that you can do to make that even more off-road. Like, I mean, if you're looking at every little kid, they want a badass truck, and that's like the truck that everybody wanted.
It was my childhood dream.
Yeah.
And it was basically how I got into it was I was saving up money for a big block for the mystery car, and I was told by a friend that these were going to auction, and I was like, well, money's in the bank, I'm going to do this. And, it was a childhood dream. It was always the old test drive games for PlayStation 1. It was always the best truck in the game.
So I remember Grand Theft Auto, they had like the I forget what they called it.
There was a knockoff one from Grand Theft Auto 3.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, man. Patriot?
Yeah, I think so.
I can't remember. Somebody comment below.
Yeah.
And tell us what it is.
Tell us how wrong we are.
But you're saying that, don't forget, this is Outlulz. I got a few things that I can do to the truck that will make it, even more capable off-road. I've been off-roading with it, hardcore off-roading with it. It's amazing.
Cause some shenanigans.
I've run over trees that have, 5 or 6 inch diameter trunks and, pushed them over. There is only one way to get them, and that is via Iron Planet. They are the only authorized auction
resale
auction outfit that you can get these through. The government is only releasing them through this one.
So they liquidate it to them and then they sell it to.
Well, it's basically I'm not exactly sure how it works. I have a general idea. The base has, X amount of Humvees that they're not using, and they want to sell them off and make some money for the base and the government.
All right.
So they say, okay, this is how many we want to get rid of, this is what we want to start the auctions at, and they go through the Iron Planet, the
So you're pretty much saying that I don't pay enough taxes and the base needs more money, so they're selling their Humvees?
Well, it's pretty much they're just sitting around. I mean, they're of course. But, and a lot of them are, they're sitting, so they need some work. Mine needed a new water pump, which was a really, really big pain.
Yeah, I can imagine. Because everything's right in, the engine's almost inside the truck.
Access isn't exactly an issue. It's the older GM diesels, mid-80s, 6.2. And for those of you who have worked on it before, you're watching this going, I know. And it's because the water pump is mounted to the timing chain cover.
Okay.
And bolts go in from the front toward the back and from the back toward the front. So you have to...
Yeah.
It is not easy.
Great engineering right there.
And the biggest problem with getting it out of the truck was the fan shroud, because the Humvee has a flat radiator in order to keep the profile of the truck very short to increase the ground clearance. The radiator is mounted at a very, very high angle. Yeah. So it was not easy to do. And you know what? If anybody asked me, hey, would you do it for me? I'd be like, no, probably not.
Listen, I gotta do this to my own truck. I'm not doing it to yours.
It was 2 days in early December.
Jeez.
So it was bad. Bruised arms, busted knuckles.
It's never fun working on vehicles in the cold. Your hand seize up, you just lose dexterity, and it's rough.
It is tough, and the skin gets very, very brittle.
Yeah,
it's
every little scrape and cut is like ow, ow, ow. I was working on actually my mirror for the FJ that I broke. And just playing with this, I cut up my knuckles and everything because it's the plastic was just so sharp, and it was just everything. Oh yeah, everything was just cutting up. But so we went over the Humvee. You have a secret vehicle that you're working on.
That one has a laundry list to get through before it's actually street worthy. Because
so I mean, before I don't want to go too much into that. So the I know the Humvee, you want to do some things to it.
Yeah.
So what are you expecting to do to that, and when do you want to have that done by?
I'm looking to have some of that done, within a couple months here. So,
okay,
you guys will see that.
Are you talking like fall or spring?
Spring, summertime, depending on what I decide to do first. I think the first thing I'm going to do to the Humvee is I'm going to get a winch put on it, which would need the winch mounting plate for the front. I'm going to need.
Well, we could fab a mounting plate.
They have them pre-made that handle the weight, and I want to keep it to the military spec stuff, just because that way I will know the capabilities, the capacities, all the numbers and stuff like that. There won't be any guesswork, and they're not that expensive. I think that right now on eBay they're going for like $300 for the full front.
Not expensive.
$300
on a piece of aluminum or steel.
It's
I'm if it fits and you don't have to drill any holes or like it's just bolt on.
I just want to buy it and put it on.
Yeah.
Like I don't have a press brake. I don't have I don't have any fancy stuff.
See, I like fabricating things, and it's just it's not necessarily that. I just like building things. Like I grew up with Lego, so like I just like I could go and buy this part. Like, can I make it though? So that's where my head's always at. It's like, I mean, I could. Like, for example, for the 350, the sway bar, because the exhaust that I'm working on that I showed you, for that I'm like, well, can I make a sway bar instead of buying one for $300? That's one of those things that because how you got to temper it and heat it or all the heat treating, that it's not worth my time trying to figure that out. I'll just let someone do it. So there's a couple people that make some dual hump sway bars for this guy.
Well, you have you trust your work enough to do that.
I do.
I'm like, am I gonna screw this up somehow?
We should talk about that later. Trusting your work, because it's one of those things like you change your brakes and then you're like very soft with them because you don't trust it.
Yes.
And I think I think you guys can relate, but I have that too. Like so I just recently rebuilt the calipers on my FJ, and I'm like, I had two of my calipers were seized, so I went through, cleaned them out, polished the insides of it, did new gasket seals and everything. And the first thing I do is like I test it, and I'm really soft on the brakes. I'm like, great, I'm gonna blow something out. I didn't tighten something down right. Like you're nervous, and then like after like a month or later, you forget that you even did it. And you're like slamming in corners and stuff and running things over, and you're like, oh, I guess I did a good job. So a couple of the projects that I have going on, a lot of you guys already seen my stuff. The 350Z is my summer sports car. I still got to do a little bit of fab work from the Y back, and then that's done. I want a car that I can actually drive and enjoy, and not always working on. Right?
Well, that's your daily driver. I mean,
it's my summer daily.
Summer daily driver.
In Buffalo here, you kind of need a vehicle for every season. So that's my summer, and then my truck is my winter / camping, and then we'll move to my 3000 GT. This is the biggest project I've had. So this one is going to be a rear-wheel drive conversion. So I'm probably going to need your help on this one, just because I'm switching to a independent rear suspension Corvette rear end with a Dana. I'm probably going to do a Dana 44, so I know you know Corvettes better than myself.
The mid-80s, that's where you get the rear end from.
So I do want to do one of those with like 373s, not really tall gears because I still want it to be a daily, but because these guys also came all-wheel drive, it has the tunnel for the shaft. I just got to open up the firewall a little bit because I want to put a T56 trans into it. I'll probably do a quick times bell housing to a T56, and then do a fiberglass drive shaft brand, and then do that to the Dana 44. And then after that, the interior is going to get stripped out, and it's going to be a straight drift car. So
this is like your track day car.
This is going to be my Eat Honda Civics car.
Okay. Well.
So that's why, if I wanted a track car, I'd probably put like 410s in it, something a little bit taller. Just to get that torque so those wheels spin quicker. But I still want something I can go and drive to work and people look at it and be like, that's ridiculous. Like,
you like wake up in the morning like, my back's feeling all right.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at them. It's going to be a little bit of that, but
yeah. So
that's how it is with the Humvee. I'm like, how's my back feeling today? It's like,
you're going to have hemorrhoids driving that thing. You need earmuffs.
just to start it. Yeah.
Kinda.
Yeah.
So
So I have that guy, and then the last piece is the motorcycle. You guys probably seen a little bit of the. It's a Yamaha Viagra or something like that. It's an X750, so it's a 750 V-twin motor. Got a lot of work done on it. Most of the fab work is done. The seat I do have to redo. I just don't like it. The angle's off. Got to do a little bit of painting once it warms up a little bit, and then wiring, and it's done. The motor's already rebuilt. Sorry, I'm talking a little bit quick. The motor's already rebuilt.
Trying to make that list sound really short.
Right? That's what I'm trying to do.
We got a little electricals and welding and...
So I got to pretty much rebuild the bike. So the motor's done. New piston rings, new seals, new gaskets. I got to finish painting the frame. I got a little work to do. I got to buy new tires. Most of it's just framework, but the motor's done. So it turns over. Love it. It's awesome. But that I want to see if I could get done before... The deadline is August because I'm going down to Tennessee with my parents. So my dad has a Harley, so me and him want to go in the back roads of Tennessee and just hang out because this was his bike when he was younger. So when I was younger, he would put me on it, and I had a huge helmet on and wobbling back and forth. I was like a bobblehead. So I want to turn it into a cafe racer. So I like that more street bike look, and that's more my style though. Like I hate the sound of racers. But I like the performance that I don't want to say performance because that's probably not the right word, but I like the aggressive look they have, right?
No.
So that's where I settled on the cafe racer. Yeah, you're hunched over, you're into it, you can feel the road.
Well, there's a presence to having one of those, and it's like you're on a rocket. You look like Wile E. Coyote grabbing onto that big red Acme rocket.
So I have those guys. There's a little other projects that I got going on, but those are the main three. Later, you guys will see us doing a lift on my truck. I'm not sure when yet, once I get all the parts and everything together. My trigonometry and all the maths done.
Trigonometry?
Yep, that stuff. And get all the maths completed to make sure my suspension geometry is correct. We'll do that together. But outside of that... I don't have a long list. I think we probably got to do what they do in Dirt Every Day and create like a chalkboard list.
You don't have a long list.
It only needs an entire motor and everything else done. But
when you're talking about number of projects, it's a feasible list.
It is. I have 4, so it's not bad. The truck is again, that's my daily, so it needs a lift. Because I'm buying new tires anyways, I want to do that lift. There's no point in buying...
It needs a lift. Needs.
Sorry.
America.
That is true. It needs one. I'm buying new tires, so it needs one.
It can't function right now. No, I hear you. Altitude is attitude. So...
You guys understand. Every truck needs a lift.
Absolutely.
But...
what the factory does is never good enough. Otherwise... we wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be watching us.
That is true. Yeah.
Sorry, OEM.
Content.
If I disappear suddenly.
So I didn't even consider the FJ until I looked at Jeeps. Up here in Buffalo, the market is very slim, and everybody has a Jeep. And I was looking, and it was like a 96, I believe, 98, somewhere in there. Jeep was about $15,000 up here. And that was something that was a rock box. It wasn't very good. It had a 4-cylinder, and it was manual, which is what I was looking for. But for $15,000, that's an expensive vehicle for a... How old? I don't even know how old I was at the time. But it was over
20 years.
Yeah, it was over 10 years old. Yeah,
25 years.
Yeah, something like that. Years. So investing that amount of money into something that is that old it's not a healthy investment. So
no.
I started looking at other vehicles, and that's when I landed on the FJ as being an alternate to a Jeep. And the thing that I fell in love with the FJ is it is a 6-speed manual. It is a V6, so it has a little bit more power than that 4-cylinder. Well, I should say quite a bit more. It's all rubber interior, and then it has a locking diff from the factory.
Yeah.
So manual transaxle. I can't beat the e-locker, and it has so much capability and so much potential, where the Jeep did not. So that's why I kind of went that way. I was never a huge Jeep fan. I was never a huge foreign fan, but all my vehicles are foreign.
All mine are domestic.
It's a slippery slope.
Are you picking up on a trend here?
I landed on the Toyota FJ, and I like the platform. I like the looks of it. I call it a truck because it's not a Jeep, but it's not an SUV.
There's a body on chassis.
Yeah.
That's a truck.
Yeah, so
that's the defining characteristic of a truck, at least in my book, is body on chassis and ground clearance.
That's actually a good question. So for me, I asked somebody, and I'm like, so a Jeep is a Jeep. You don't you really don't say it's an SUV, even though it might be classified as such, right? A truck with a bed, like a Ford F-150, you call it a truck, right?
Yeah.
But what would you call the FJ? It's not a truck, but I don't want to classify it as an SUV because I see an SUV as being like mom going to soccer play, or like an Escape or something like that.
I will clear this up. And where you're getting caught up is the manufacturers are trying to sell crossovers as SUVs now.
Okay.
An SUV, to me, a true SUV is like a 1999 Ford Expedition.
Yeah.
Big, body on chassis. It was made with parts from the F-150. It was a truck. You could call it an SUV. You know, and that's where it is. I think that yours probably falls under the SUV category because sport utility vehicle. And you're using it for those things.
That is exactly correct. But I just feel like SUV has a bad connotation to it because of that.
Soccer moms and whatnot. Yeah. There is. And, I mean, yours is somewhere in the middle. Because it's not exactly a Jeep. It's a little bit. The wheelbase is a little bit longer.
It is.
It's
like it's almost on like size wise. It's almost like a what are those? Not the Wranglers. The little bit the 4-door Jeeps.
The Cherokee.
Not the Cherokee. It's like the Wrangler but extended. It has the 4-door like Wranglers.
Oh,
I forget what they're called.
I don't know if they have a special name or not.
It's probably just a Wrangler trailer or whatever.
Wrangler.
I'm not a fan of Jeep.
Crew cab? Is that what the Jeep guys? Can you?
Yeah, let us know what that is.
Again, comment. Tell us what it is. When you're telling us all the other shit we asked for.
Justin might know. He's a Jeep guy. One of my buddies, Justin. He has a built. He had a built Jeep.
He might know.
He might know.
See, I like my trucks to be a little bit more of. I'm kind of lazy when it comes to these kind of things. I don't want to have. I don't have 6 different pairs of shoes for the weather. I have one pair of shoes that meets it all, and that's kind of how I want my truck to be, which is what ultimately led me to the Humvee. The only thing is it's not very fast, so it's not exactly a pre-runner, but it is a rock crawler. It's a mudder. It has an awesome torque band.
So when I get stuck, you can save my ass.
Yeah, I would really like to get out with your FJ and see what that thing's capable of, because I've really never. They're kind of a rare animal. A lot of people drive Jeeps. You're right. It's become the Nike of the car world. People buy it because of the nameplate, and that's why their resale value is so high. Why you're saying one's $15,000 and it's 20, 25 years old. But I'd like to get out there and see what yours is like, especially with that straight 6.
Mine's a V6.
Yours is a V6.
Yep.
Okay.
It's so those trails in some of the videos, you guys probably already saw those. I'll zip through those. I'll go about 40, and it eats it up. As long as I don't have anything in the back to like jump around and hit me in the head.
Yeah. That chainsaw that you tucked so neatly behind your seat.
That doesn't actually move.
Well, that's good.
It's the bin in the back full of my recovery gear that just bounces around. I need to figure out a way to strap that down. So we got some other things we got to do. I was hoping to get some garage stuff done, but unforeseen circumstances kind of don't make it possible.
Weather is being a little difficult still.
Yeah. So because of that, we're probably going to cut this one short, and we're probably going to go work on some video editing, get you used to the video editing software, learn you on that a little bit, and maybe do some adventuring stuff. Way to clap.
Just synchronizing the audio again.
I
just want to make sure. We got to double check.
Just make sure it's doubly synced. But, all right, guys, we'll see you in a little bit.